Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now the very end of May of 2023, and we are gearing up toward the marketing plan by Jon and Dave for the Ahsoka Tano series, which by the way drops in late August, give or take around that time. And we also have a lot of things heading our way for a lot of Thrawn reveals that will be dropping throughout the month of July. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support, and without wasting too much of your time, let's get right into the subject and story here. So what's going on right now between Jon and Dave is that they are setting up a lot of elements of Rebels to turn into live-action adaptations. This includes the live-action versions of Sabine, Ezra, Hera Syndulla, Grand Admiral Thrawn, as well as the addition of new characters like Dark Jedi, such as Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati, who, by the way, are going to be the two big villains in the Ahsoka series. Now, what's interesting about what's coming our way for Ahsoka Season 2, which, by the way, I can't stress this enough, it is going to be a very detailed story because it is being storyboarded right now, and a lot of notes are being created by Jon and Dave prior to developing the script. They're aiming to get this thing out by sometime in the end of 2025. Now, with that being put out there and said, what's even all the more interesting is exactly what they are about to do with the sequel trilogy canon and how Ahsoka Season 2 is going to play a large role in all of this. Now, with both Jon and Dave now preparing to make big announcements to Star Wars fans, both Jon and Dave are currently storyboarding, like I say, for Ahsoka Season 2 that is set that is actually said to dive into prequel, original, and sequel trilogy lore that will be shifted around, where one of the storyboards that have been created by Favreau and Filoni is said to involve Ahsoka within the world between worlds, where she is approaching one of the portals where it opens up to an important part in Rey's life. This is described to be a very crucial moment in which Ahsoka is going to change elements of sequel trilogy canon by altering a specific event in Rey's past, and that this is described to be a way for Jon and Dave to set up their post-Episode 9 series that will dive further into retcons of the sequels and a new backstory provided for Rey and her lineage. Now, as we discussed yesterday, by the way, guys, they do have a full plan to cancel the Rey Palpatine treatment altogether, and they want to make her strictly into becoming a descendant of the Kenobi bloodline. Now, could it very well be possible that this approach of theirs with Ahsoka Season 2 has much to do with that? That's a big mystery as of right now, but we all know that Ahsoka Season 2 is going to use the world between worlds in a more advanced way than the first season. The first season's going to kind of meddle with it here and there, where you are going to go into elements of the prequels and the originals, etc., but the second season is going to have a lot to do with changing the course of history and aspects of the sequel trilogy lore. And this is something that I think a lot of fans are going to either be very skeptical about or very standoffish about. Meanwhile, you'll probably have a lot of fans too that are going to be very supportive of this overall approach for Ahsoka to have a big moment with Rey. Alright, so turning to the next thing here, we know that additionally, we have a lot of people like Timothy Zahn coming on board as an advisor again for the second season of Ahsoka, which, by the way, I think is great because he did a fantastic job with previous books throughout the 1990s and everything related to the most recent ones as well. However, on top of this, alright, one of the other storyboards involves a sequence in which Ahsoka is said to be standing in the same environment as Rey on a jungle-like world. However, it's unclear and mysterious if Ahsoka and Rey are even communicating in this scene or not, or if Ahsoka is just truly spectating the moment in Rey's life. I would say it's most definitely the latter. I believe that Ahsoka is just spectating Rey's life and exactly what she's doing and how she's going to be able to kind of manipulate what actually happens. We got to remember that the WBW does have limitations. And we all witnessed in Rebels Season 4, where literally Ezra Bridger is the main reason why Ahsoka is alive in the present time, because he interfered with the Ahsoka versus Vader duel on Malachor in that Sith temple. Alright, this is an actual thing that happened, by the way. History did change in Star Wars Rebels. Now, Daisy Ridley has been approached by both Jon and Dave to take part in the second season to fulfill the scene as a cameo, alright, in which Rey's backstory is going to be altered in some way. It's planned to be a big moment also in which Jon and Dave are also going to write new rules for what the WBW can and cannot do when it involves changing the past and the future and what kind of consequences come along with that altering. Now, they also are set to include the Wills, who are godlike beings that will play a large role in the scene, becoming a very big possibility. Now, what's interesting about this, by the way, guys, is that we also have George Lucas coming on board to look over the second season of Ahsoka to make sure it stays in line with the continuity of Rebels Season 4 and how the WBW is used. And I think at the end of the day, too, this is going to be a very crucial moment for fans, because whatever they are planning to do here, it seems like it's going to be something of substance and something of significance, given that we already know, if you think about it, and take a pause here for a second, if you think real deeply back to the sequels and really think to yourself, there were a lot of voices that were actually reaching out to Rey. If you guys listen very carefully in The Force Awakens, it's scattered, but you do hear a female voice reaching out to Rey multiple times, saying the name Rey. We hear the same exact thing in the Last Jedi cave sequences. You guys may or may not have missed it, but that too is also present. So could it very well be that Jon and Dave here are canonizing those voices as being Ahsoka reaching out to Rey? Possible, because if you think about it, it is storyboarded that Rey is on a jungle-like world here when Ahsoka is in that actual moment in time. And that could very well be the world of Takodana, as we all saw in The Force Awakens, where she eventually gets caught up with Kylo Ren. She gets, pretty much incapacitated and taken away on board of a ship. And what's interesting about that is it could very well be possible that there's going to be some kind of moment on Takodana that's going to be shifted around for Rey's life. Now, it's also very much, I think, very crucial for Ahsoka as a character is that she is going to learn more about the consequences of the world between worlds in not just Ahsoka Season 1, but also in the second season. So, again, like I said, and I can't stress this enough, the first season is going to meddle with it. You're going to learn more about the WBW. Yes, it's going to be used in some significant ways, but not quite as significant as this, that they actually intend to do for Season 2. And again, we got a long ways to go for Season 2. It's not going to arrive until at least, and I say at least, the end of 2025. That's the current plan. If the writer's strike persists and continues, it could even be later than that, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait and see how long it's going to take for the second season of Ahsoka to drop. And honestly, I'm very passionate about this project. It's a Dave Filoni written series. Kathleen Kennedy had no involvement, so there's that. So overall, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. From night to moon, we hear their moans again.